This is the 2C Media Network on YouTube, and this is Steve Baxley Sports Final, brought to you by L2C Media Network. And now, with yours truly, Harry von Stuttgart, announcing, here's our boy, Steve the Baxman Baxley. Bit more, thank you. How's it going, everybody? How you doing? Good evening. Actually, good morning on the West Coast. Good evening still on the East Coast. Your friendly neighborhood, Steve Baxley, with you. Glad you could be with us on a night of wildness. Yes, the wildness continues, and long may you live. A little tribute to a good friend. That more coming up in this fully packed hour-long program, more or less. So, let's get started. And as we always do on a Thursday night when there's football, we have to give our best. That's right. We had on the old final. We've got Broncos and Jets and how they did on Thursday, plus the official word on the Steelers and Titans. All that and a lot more right now. Let's get Thursday nights solidified, shall we? We shall. By the way, sorry we didn't have time last night for the Rabbi's prediction, but I should have put him on, but I didn't. He did pick, I do believe he picked the New York Jets. Did he not? To win? We'll find out for you right here, right now, before we go into, as we like to call it, the review. And if we can do that, most everybody else is just circling the commotive life. There we go. Hello. How y'all doing? Good to see you. To see you good. Okay. Let's get to the prediction of our good friend the Rabbi. And I know we should have done this on Wednesday, but as usual, things got stuffed, and we also had a little technical problem. So the Rabbi has forgiven us, Rabbi Fleischman, and we are sorry to have done that. But now we will on Saturday night have His Eminence to give us his full predictions. But he did place the prediction with us. I should have done it yesterday, but we were in such a hurry to conclude the broadcast that I forsakened his prediction. So we will bring you the prediction right now. Of course, after the fact, but still. Let us heed to the prediction. And we'll go from there. There we are. By the way, after 47 games, 33, 13-1, a 70% accuracy. So he is he's feeling good. Maybe that's what we did this. And the prediction was New York Jets 20, Denver Broncos 21. Denver by 1 was his prediction. Was he right? Was he right? Let's go to it. This is the Thursday night, and we do so with class, dignity, and cheesy respect. Let's go to it. And yes, friends, it was a great evening for the Broncos, shockingly enough. They have put the Jets on notice, and they won 37-28. Let's give you the recap, shall we? That we shall. And we're going to do this like we did last week. Just give you the recap as best as we can, not the quarter by quarter, full play by play. So we're going to do this proper. And just go by the recap. From the dirt track of the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. That's right, because that field definitely is a bit tricky. Melvin Gordon sealed the Denver Broncos' first win of the season with a 43-yard touchdown run with a minute 48 remaining, and the defense made just enough plays in the fourth quarter to beat the lowly and still winless and now pathetic New York Jets 37-28 on Thursday Night Football on the NFL Network. Both teams came in looking to avoid starting 0-4 in consecutive seasons, but the Broncos came out on top in a sloppy, penalty-filled, but strangely entertaining game between two of the NFL's worst teams. Obviously, the Lions are not the third one. Aha. On 3rd and 6, and the Jets leading by 1, Quinnen Williams sacked Brett Rypien, but grabbed the quarterback's helmet and prolonged the drive. 7 plays later, Brandon McManus kicked a 53-yard field goal to give Denver the lead at 30-28 with 3:08 remaining. The Jets couldn't do anything on their next possession, and Sam Darnold was sacked by Bradley Chubb on 4th and 3 to give the Broncos the ball back at the 2-minute warning. Chubb had 2.5 sacks, and Denver finished with 6. Gordon ended New York's chances with his long rumble that sent the Jets to consecutive 0-4 starts for the first time in franchise history. The heat on Coach Adam Gaze's seat will surely be turned up even more. After this latest embarrassment, New York was penalized 11 times, including 6 personal fouls. The Jets were actually in position to win after Pierre Desir, having a rough game in coverage, redeemed himself a bit by picking off Rypien, whose arm was hit by Terrell Basham as he threw and returned it 35 yards for a touchdown. Darnold's pass into the end zone on the 2-point try was incomplete, leaving the Jets trailing by 2 at 27-25 with 10:45 remaining. Brian pulled and intercepted Rypien, making his first NFL start on the Broncos' next possession. Given the Jets the ball at Denver's 44, that led to Sam Fickens' 5th field goal of the game, a 36-yarder that put New York ahead 28-27 with 6:28 remaining. Rypien, the nephew of 92 Super Bowl MVP Mark Rypien, thank you, Rypien, yeah, thank you, became the first quarterback to win his first start with 3 interceptions, and San Francisco's Jim Druckenmiller beat the St. Louis Rams 15-12 in 97. Rypien finished 1931, 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. Darnold gave the Jets their first lead this season with a dazzling run that would make running back teammates Frank Gore and Le'Veon Bell proud. Darnold wriggled out of a sack attempt by Alexander Johnson, took off up the middle, sidestepped Justin Simmons' tackle try, and then charged downfield. Kareem Jackson looked as if he thought Darnold was going to slide, but the quarterback stayed on his feet, faked Jackson, and avoided another driving tackle attempt for a 46-yard touchdown that put New York up 7-0 with 3:35 into the game. Darnold, whose run was the longest by a quarterback this season, flipped the ball over his shoulder, and his teammates mobbed him. McManus kicked a 40-yard field goal, cut the Broncos' deficit to 7-3 on their first drive, which was helped by a pass interference penalty on Bless Austin and a roughing the passer call on Basham. Then came a very scary moment for the Jets and Darnold. Late in the first quarter, Darnold tried to avoid the rush and was slammed to the ground onto his right shoulder by Johnson, who didn't let the quarterback get past him this time. Darnold handed off on the next play, then headed to the sideline and into a locker room as the Jets and their fans watching on TV at home held their breath. Joe Flacco, in his first game as a New York backup quarterback, took over. Darnold was able to come back early in the second quarter on the Jets' next series and was promptly sacked again. Rypien put the Broncos on top 10-7 with a 48-yard touchdown throw to Jerry Jeudy The rookie wide receiver reached in front of Desir, snatched football, and then walked into the end zone for his first NFL touchdown. That drive was kept alive by another defensive penalty when Williams was called for roughing the passer. Marcus May was also called for holding on the play, but the Broncos declined it. Ripien connected with Judy on the next play. Desir picked off Ripien's pass on the Broncos' next possession, a play that was originally ruled that the cornerback was out of bounds, but reversed after a challenge by Jets Gaze. Jets took advantage. Eventually, Sam Ficken was wide left on a 46-yard try, but a personal foul penalty on Joseph Jones gave New York new life. 3 plays later, Ficken was good on a 26-yarder to tie it. Gordon's 1-yard touchdown plunge with 1:37 left in the half gave Denver the lead again at 17-10. Ficken had kicks of 38 and 32 yards to make it 17-16 early in the third quarter. Ripien led a terrific 13-play drive that took nearly 7 minutes, capping it with a 6-yard touchdown pass to Tim Patrick to put Denver up 24-16 with 4:31 left in the third quarter. And it all came to fruition. Broncos over the Jets, 37-28. Let's give you the injury report. Broncos wide receiver KJ Hamler left with a hamstring injury. Tight end Noah Fant was carted off with an ankle injury in the third quarter. For the Jets, not exactly good humor. Left tackle Chuma Idioga left in the first quarter with a shoulder injury. He had started for Mekhi Becton, who had been questionable with a shoulder injury. Becton replaced Idoga, but also had to leave and was replaced by Connor McDermott. Cornerback Bless Austin with a calf injury, and wide receiver Lawrence Cager with a hamstring also left with injuries. Broncos' next opponent, not an easy one, Cam Newton and the brand new New England Patriots on October 11th, and the Jets host Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals on October 11th. Final score once again, Broncos 37, New York Jets 28. Oh, what a night. And if you will forgive me for a couple of moments, we'll get back to the fun, thrilled excitement of the sports final. In just a moment, I have to put up the fact that we're on the air now. That should be good to do, shouldn't it? Yes, it should. All right. Excuse. Okay, we gotta do this properly, you know. So forgive me for a moment. A little slow here. Let's go to it. And there we go. We have slunk to lowness and said hello. Okay, let's get back to the beginning. Okay, we've done our NFL. Don't forget, each and every Sunday night, or each and every Sunday afternoon, about 4 o'clock, more or less, we bring you a complete rundown of all the action from the early games in our very own little halftime feature we call After the First Half. All the games from the 1 o'clock hour. And we preview the Sunday and Monday night games as we prep you for the 4 o'clock and 4:25 late starters. And we got now a update. Speaking of late starters, we have an update now on the situation between the Steelers and the Titans. And we're going to bring you that report right here, right to do. Steelers Titans, well, they are postponed for a while now. They're being rescheduled. And here's a report. I keep hearing the noise in the background. Let's go to it. Teleprompter giving us the plan for the postponed game. According to ESPN.com, the most likely scenario for the game is that it's going to be moved to Week 7, which means instead of playing each other on October 4th, the Steelers and Titans will now play each other on October 25th in Tennessee. Now, to make this plan work, the NFL will need to review things on the 2020 schedule. With the Titans and Steelers, both teams would then have a Week 4 bye. The Titans were previously scheduled to have a Week 7 bye, but that's now the week where they'd be facing the Steelers if the NFL goes through with the plan. Not only would the Titans and Steelers Not only would the Titans and Steelers be changing their bye weeks, but the NFL is also dragging Baltimore into all this, as the Ravens' schedule would also have to undergo a slight change to make this all work. The Steelers were originally supposed to travel to Baltimore in Week 7, but that game would need to be moved since both the Ravens and Steelers have a bye week in Week 8, or have a bye in Week 8. One of those words is right. Those two teams would then play in Week 8, and the Ravens' bye would be moved to Week 7. Now, the NFL's most likely scenario is the same one that was proposed by R.J. White, ESPN, CBSSports.com editor, which means the league must be stalking his Twitter feed. I wish someone would stalk mine. The new schedule would mean that the Steelers would get to play 4 straight home games for the first time since 1970. For the Titans, not much would change for them. They weren't scheduled to leave Nashville during the entire month of October, and that wouldn't change with this proposed change. For the Ravens, the schedule change means that they'd have to play the Steelers twice during the month of November. Also means that the Ravens wouldn't have a bye before starting what should be the most difficult part of their schedule. Following their proposed Week 7, Steelers away in consecutive weeks. The NFL had to postpone the Steelers-Titans game due to a COVID outbreak that Titans hard. Tennessee's had a total of 11 members of their organization, including 5 players, test positive for the virus since the start of the outbreak. Now, due to the outbreak, the Titans won't be allowed back into their practice facility until Saturday at the earliest. Because of that, along with the fact that there were even more positive tests on Thursday, the NFL felt that it made just postpone the game. Now, here's one more look at the proposed changes broken down by team. For the Titans, the old week 4 versus Steelers, and a Week 7 bye. The new is the Week 4 bye and Week 7 versus the Steelers. Speaking of the Steelers, they're old. Week 4 at the Titans, Week 7 at the Ravens, Week 8 is a bye week. Well, now the Week 4 will be your bye week. Week 7 will be at the Titans, and Week 8 will be at the Ravens. And for the Ravens, the old Week 7 versus the Steelers, Week 8 the bye week. Now the new will have the Week 7 bye week, Week 8 versus the Steelers. This is intriguing, and it's also interesting. We'll just have to see and find out just how they're going to play this. I think that is a bright idea. What we just gave you. Steelers-Titans to be played on Week 7. Very good possibility on that one. Let's keep going. Another NFL little report. Man, we got a lot of NFL reports tonight, so let's get to it. Allen Lazard, who caught 6 passes for 146 yards and a score in the Packers' Week 6 win over the Saints, is out indefinitely after undergoing core muscle surgery this week, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. Green Bay will be without Lazard, but will look to keep its undefeated start intact Monday night against the winless Falcons on ESPN. A former undrafted rookie out of Iowa State, the 6'5", 227-pound Lazard, signed with the Packers in December of 2018 after spending most of his rookie season on the Jags practice squad. After catching just one pass that season, Lazard caught 35 passes for 477 yards and 3 touchdowns last season. Lazard is currently the Packers' leading receiver with 254 yards and 2 touchdowns on 13 receptions. Lazard's 19.5 yards per catch this season is over 4 yards over his career average. Now, Darius Shepard and Malik Taylor. Valdez-Scantling has caught 8 passes for 165 yards and a score through 3. Tay Adams, who missed last week's game with a hamstring injury, was a limited participant during practice. It appears that the Packers' offense may rely more on running back Aaron Jones, who has rushed for 303 yards and 4 touchdowns. By the way, Nick Ricchetta has of our broadcast coming up. Let's get to it. We're on till about we're on to midnight. We're on till 1 o'clock. Actually, about 1:45. 1:15. There you go. We'll go when we hit that 1 hour mark, which wouldn't be long. Anyway, tonight on the Creative Law channel on Lost Blaney the Interwebs, Chris Hook joins the mighty one, Drexel, and Nick Ricchetta, the humble Minnesota lawyer, for a couple of lessons. Oh, hi. Let's do it this way. For a lesson in communication. That should be fun. That's already begun on Ricchetta Law channel here on YouTube. So if you wish to go see what that's like, feel free. Of course, we invite you to naturally stay with us, stay a part of the madness that is this very program. And here we go. Boom. All right. Let's get this. And he didn't last too long on that island of misfit coaches. After his unceremonial dumping by the LA Clippers, Doc Rivers will be the next head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Rivers spent the past 7 seasons coaching the Los Angeles Clippers, but after blowing a 3-1 lead to Denver Nuggets in the second round, he and the team mutually agreed to part ways. Soon after, the 76ers keyed in on Rivers, who they likely did not expect to be available as their top coaching choice, and the deal was completed in less than a week, though there was some speculation he could take on front office duties as well. Rivers was the senior vice president of basketball operations in Los Angeles. That won't be the case, as he will serve strictly as a head coach, team source confirmed to CBS Sports. Now, 76ers have been coached by Brett Brown for a while. Rivers is coming off a series in which he was outcoached by Mike Malone. The Denver Nuggets, no coach on the market, had a better playoff track record. Rivers won a championship with the 2008 Boston Celtics and reached the finals again with them in 2010, losing to, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Rivers has had a reputation for being widely respected by his players. That has been a sore spot for the 76ers. Star center Joel Embiid has been criticized for his conditioning for years, while former number 1 overall pick Ben Simmons has refused to take three-point shots consistently during games despite Brown's urging. Benny from Brown, Philadelphia almost never ran pick and roll under Brown, whereas the Clippers used it as one of their primary drivers of offense. That may have been a personal issue, as Embiid struggles to roll hard to the basket, and Philadelphia's limited shooting cramps its spacing, but Rivers will certainly try to find a work around that issue. Now, despite the youth of their superstars, Philadelphia is very much in a win-now mode. Their roster is already, Embiid and Simmons have dealt with. Neither of their futures are certainties. 76ers couldn't afford to roll the dice on an unproven commodity. Instead, they went for the most accomplished and available coach, Rivers. In turn, Rivers gets to trade in one win-now roster for another and remain in contention for a championship. Now, on paper, neither side could ever ask for a better fit, and we tend to agree. Not a bad job. Okay, let's keep going and rolling. And here we go. Let's do this. It's time to ring in the playoffs. That's right. The wild card playoffs continue to be, as they like to say, wild. And we begin with a must-watch game as usual. It is Game 2 of the National League Wild Test between the Brewers and the Dodgers. And right now, Dodgers lead 3-0, 3-6-0 for the Dodgers, 0-3-0 for the Brews. LA leads the series 1-0. They're in the top of the eighth, and the Dodgers lead 3-0. Hopefully, we'll have a final score before we say our goodnights at about 1:30. In Game 2 of their National League Wild Card Series, the Braves knocked off the Reds by a score of 5-0. 5-9-0 for the Braves, 0-2-1 for the Reds, and the Braves advance to the next round, winning the series in a sweep 2-0. Anderson got the win for the Braves. He's 1-0. Castillo got the loss for the Reds. He's 0-1. Y'all players of the game are Duval, the Atlanta left fielder, went 1 for 4, a run, a homer, and 2 ribs. And Anderson, the Atlanta pitcher, pitched 6 magnificent innings of baseball, only giving up 2 hits, no earned runs, got 9 strikeouts and 2 walks. The Oakland Athletics just shut down the White Sox, and they have won their wild card series 2-1. 6-4 the final score, 6-8-1 for the Athletics, 4-12-1 for the White Sox. Montaz gets the win for the Athletics. He's 1-0. Marshall gets the loss for the White Sox. He's 0-1. And Hendricks gets a save. That's his first. In fact, Hendricks, the Oakland pitcher, he got the he pitched only 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, no earned runs, got 3 strikeouts, and no walks. Montez, the Oakland pitcher of record, pitched 2 full innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts, and no walks. Our second game, and this one is gone 1 even, or even at 1. San Diego Padres defeated the St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 11-9, 11-15-2 for the Pods, 9-10-1 for the Cardinals. Pagan gets the win for the Padres. He's 1-0. Ponce Leon gets the loss. He's 0-1, and Rosenthal gets his first save. The series, which was tied at 1, Padres now have a commanding 2-1 series lead in this best of 3 wild card playoff. Myers, the San Diego right fielder, went 2 for 5, 2 runs, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and Tatis, shortstop for San Diego, went 3 for 5, 2 runs, 2 homers, and 5 RBIs. Marlins and Cubs, they were postponed due to weather. Miami leads the series 1-0. They can sweep, I do believe, tomorrow. Right. In fact, let's take you to today's action. It is 42 after 12. Let's go to today's action, guys, and it all begins at 2:08 on with Game 2 of the Marlins and Cubs. Your probable pitchers will be Lopez for Miami and Lester for Chicago. 6:38 on ESPN. It'll be Brewers taking on the Dodgers. Game 3, LA leads by a series blot of 1-0. Probable pitchers: Lindblom for for Milwaukee, and Gonsolin for the Dodgers. At 10, ESPN wraps up its night of baseball paradise with the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the San Diego Padres in Game 3 with San Diego leading 10-0. Flaherty, the St. Louis pitcher, went goose eggs, and Morgan also went to that area there. Okay. Another swig of Jolly Juice. Mm. And that's your MLB scorecard right there. And we've given you what's coming up on the morrow. Let's get you more headlines and something else to be happy about. And Kershaw dealing strong. Dodgers have the lead 3-0. We go to the 8th. In general sports, was suspended by Trek Segafredo on Wednesday after making what his team referred to as incendiary, controversial comments on social media regarding President Donald Trump during a conversation with a Dutch journalist. The journalist, Jose Bean, wrote on Twitter in reference to Trump that she hopes for the sake of her American friends the, quote, horrible presidency ends for you, end quote, and added that if you follow me and support Trump, you can go. There is zero excuse to follow or vote for the vile, horrible man. Simmons replied to Breen's tweet by writing, bye, with an emoji of a dark-skinned hand waving. Another Twitter user tweeted at Bean and referencing Simmons wrote, apparently a Trumper, to which the cyclist responded, that's right, along with an emoji of the American flag. There you go. After the exchange, Trek Segafredo released a statement explaining that Simmons, who is in his first year with the team, is suspended indefinitely. Quote, while we support the right to free speech, we will hold people accountable for their words and actions. The team said, regrettably, Simmons made statements online that we feel are divisive, incendiary, and detrimental to the team, professional cycling, its fans, and the positive future we hope to help create for the sport. In response, he will not be racing for Trek Segafredo until further notice. Now, in addition, Trek Segafredo team manager Lucia Guerlasina stated that Simmons' 2020 season is likely done for. Bean ended up deleting her Twitter account following the exchange, according to the Associated Press. Prior to deleting her account, and Bean ended up deleting her Twitter account following the exchange, according to the Associated Press. Prior to deleting her account, Bean wrote that she felt horrible about the situation, terrible for Simmons to miss his beloved classics. To suspend him would never be my choice. No. Hang him by his feet. Maybe he'll get the message. Anyway. Oh, boy. If you will excuse me for a moment. Something did not pop open. And now it has. Oh, goody, our sound effects. Thank you. Alrighty then. Oh, God, that was fun. Well, in other NHL and in other sports news, Sharks have named Bob. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But it looks like the bubble has burst. That's right. The concept and execution of a bubble has allowed the NHL postseason to safely reach the Stanley Cup Finals and beyond. That's right. Staying in the bubble has been crucial to keeping players and staff safe since the season resumed after being put use one for the upcoming 2020-21 regular season. Within the next 2 weeks, the NHL and Players Association will meet. Anyway, there we go. Within the next 2 weeks, the NHL and its Players Association will meet to go over their options for next season and a bubble for an entire season, not on anyone's first choice. The NLPA is in the process of creating a committee to help them answer the countless questions that currently loom regarding next season. They have to determine when the next season will start. Fair and Commissioner Gary Bettman have said December 1st is the early start date. How many games they can schedule and what protocols will be in place. Now, letting fans attend games is one of the biggest questions that has to be have fans in our buildings is something that we may be well beyond our contract in terms of local government regulations that will determine how much the shortfalls is off and where we were and off of where we were projecting, Gary said. You know that as attendance records, let's see. So, as we said, how many games can they schedule and what protocols will be in place before everything shoots the hoop? Letting fans attend games is one of the biggest questions that has to be answered, mostly for those fun-loving financial reasons. On whatever basis, we may or may not be able to have fans in our buildings is something that may well be beyond our control in terms of local government regulations that will determine how much a shortfall is off of where we were and off where we were projecting, Bettman says. You know that attendance affects at least 50% of revenues. If teams take a massive financial hit because fans aren't allowed to go to games next season, player salaries may be impacted. Fair said that players understand that risk. So, possible no bubble for 2020-2021. That is going to be fun to see. You know what else is going to be fun to see? A little musical interlude for a couple of moments as I sashay over to the men's room for a little bit. So, guys, if you happen to have a little, would sure as hell love to hear some right about now, because it's been an interesting and some would say very fruitful day. So we're just trying to get to a little ha-ha or two or three, something to, as they say, break monotony. Skull. Okay. Anything we can do? Let's give you a little free musical interlude. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us. And we got you coming up. And I'm going to just step away for a moment or two to enter the facility. And while we do that, let's take a little good thing and we shall have our royalty-free sports music. Yes, we need a little sports music, guys. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Okay. This is fun. Let's all look good. Yeah, that too. Okay, we're going to take a little break. Be back with you in just a few moments. You're watching the Steve Baxley Sports Final. And Let's go to it. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay tuned. And we're back. And we're back with more of the Steve Baxley Sports Final. Caught the nice camera, not only nice camera. Got the microphone here before it completely back. Glad you're back. Let's get back to sports. In fact, right now, we got a scoreboard to do. That's right. So let's get scoreboard, a couple more headlines, and we're going to do it right now, as a matter of fact. Hello to everybody on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And the reason we're doing it short is because very dear close friend who sadly is no longer with us. And our tribute is coming up in just a few moments here on the Steve Baxley Sports Final. Right now, we're in the scoreboard. Time for us to do what we do best, which is absolutely positively wipe out. Give you some soccer, give you some basketball, some hockey, and little baseball from the land of the rising sun in South Korea. And get ready, because here it comes. Well, almost. One more, guys, please. Thank you. Okay, let's give you some soccer scores. Wow. Well, okay, we'll do it like this. In the Europa League, Tottenham defeated Maccabi Haifa 7-2. Lask defeated Sporting 4-1. Was AC Milan and Rio Ave tied at 1, and then they had penalty kicks, and AC Milan penalty kicked Rio Ave right in the tuchus 3-2. Galatasaray lost to the Rangers 2-1. AEK Athens FC defeated Wolfsburg 2-1. Young Boys defeated Tirana 3-0. Dundalk defeated Klaksvik 3-1. CSKA Sofia defeated Basel 3-1. St. League 3-1 winner over MOL Ferva. Qarabag over Liga 3-0. Celtic over Sarajevo 1-0. Rijeka over Copenhagen 1-0. Ludogorets over Dynamo Brest 2-0. H. Beersheva over Pleasant 1-0. PSV over Rosenborg 2-0. Granada over Malmo 3-1. Liberec Apol 1-0. Zagreb over Flora 3-1. Lech Poznań over Charleroi 2-1. FK Crvena Zvezda over Ariad Armenia 2-1. And CFR Cluj over Coups 3-1. That was in the Europa League qualifications. And in Spain's La Liga, it was Cadiz over Athletic Bilbao 1-0. Seville over Levante 1-0. And Barcelona over Celta Vigo 3-0. In the Euro League in basketball, here we go. Zenit Petersburg over Anadolu Efes 73-69. Hit the bell. Zalgiris Kaunas over Olympiacos 68-67. Maccabi Tel Aviv over Alba Berlin 80-73. Barcelona over CSKA Moscow 76-66. And Valencia over Lyon Villeurbanne 65-63. In Swedish hockey, Djurgårdens over Malmo 3-0. Örebro over Leksands 5-3. In overtime, it was Linköpings over Brynäs 5-4. Luleå over HV71 5-4. Oxfordsham over Farjasad BK 4-2. Skelfity over Frölunda 3-1. Växjö over Rogel 2-1. Czech Republic in the Extra League, Montfield and Pardubice were postponed. In Finland, the land that I love. Anyway, Karpat over Hamarina 4-2. In the Japanese baseball, for the Nippon Professional Baseball, NPB in Japan, the Hanshin Tigers and the Chunichi Dragons, Part 1 was canceled. Part 2 rolled on with a 2-0 win. The Tigers over the Dragons, 2-4-1 for the Tigers, 0-4-0 for the Dragons. Iwata for the Tigers gets the win, 1-0. 1-0 is his record. Rodriguez gets the loss, he's 2-3. The Yomiuri Giants over the Hiroshima Carp, 5-3. 5-6-2 for the Giants, 3-4-0 for the Carp. Scott gets the loss, he's 0-3. Sanchez gets the victory for the Giants, he's 6-3. The Nippon Ham Fighters over the Chibalati Marines, 3-2. 3-9-0 for the Ham Fighters, 2-9-0 for the Marines. Sugira for the Ham Fighters gets the victory. He's 6-3. Iwashita gets lost for the Marines. He's 5-7. Cebu Lions over the Yorick Buffaloes 7-6. 7-10-2 for the Lions. 6-11-0 for the Buffaloes. Higgins for the Buffaloes gets the loss. He's 2-3. Mayagawa gets the win. He's 1-1 for the Lions. The Fukuoka Silverhawks over the Rakuten Golden Eagles, 4-1, 4-7-0 for the Hawks, 1-5-0 for the Eagles. Matsui for the Eagles gets the loss, he's 3-4. Ishikawa gets the win for the Silverhawks, he's 7-3. Speaking of which, round numero dos of this game, the Eagles and Hawks was canceled. And the Akut Swallows defeated the Yokohama Bay Stars 2-0. 2-4-0 for the Swallows, 0-6-1 for the Bay Stars. Muto for the Bay Stars gets a loss. He's 0-1. That's Sayuchi. Thank you. For the Yokohama Bay Stars, for the Yakut Swallows gets the win. He's 1-1. And let's go to South Korea. The Korean baseball organization, the Hanwha Eagles, bleep slapped the Doosan Bears 12-4, 12-15-0 for the Eagles, 4-9-1 for the Bears. Kia Tigers over the Kiwoom Heroes, 3-1, 3-9-0 for the Tigers, 1-6-0 for the Heroes. Lottie Giants over the LJ Twins, 3-2, 3-7-0 for the Giants, 2-6-0 for the Twins. NC Dinos over the SK Wyverns, 10-2, 10-7-1 for the Dinos, 2-3-0 for the Wyverns. And in extra innings, Samsung Lions defeated the KT Wiz Swan by a score 7-6. In extra innings, 7-16-1 for the Lions, 6-8-2 for the Swan. And we are done for the scoreboard, folks. Let's get you a couple of headlines and see what else develops. And then we're going to say a few words about a good friend. And let's see here what we got. Okay, let's go over here. Boom. And in the National Football League, we'll check also the update from awful announcing as well. Sam Darnold left the New York Jets Thursday Night Football loss to the Denver Broncos after getting slammed to the turf by Denver linebacker Alexander Johnson near the end of the first quarter, falling on his right shoulder at the end of the sack. Darnold did return to the game after he was briefly replaced by backup Joe Flacco, missing a series, but he played the rest of the game. Darnold suffered a right shoulder sprain as a result of the hit. Darnold finished 23 of 42 for 230 yards, with no touchdowns and no interceptions in the loss, but rushed for a career-high 84 yards and a touchdown. Darnold gave the Jets an early lead on a 46-yard touchdown run, which was the longest run for a quarterback in Jets franchise history. He was also sacked 6 times. Joe Flacco came in to relieve Darnold for a series, going for hello, boys. Thank you. Joe Flacco came in to relieve Darnold for a series, going 2 for 2 for 16 yards. Flacco made his first appearance for the Jets after missing the first few games, recovering from neck surgery in early April. Jets made Flacco number 2 quarterback after he was deemed active for Thursday's game after James Morgan was ruled inactive. They're usually good for a couple of stories and then a final farewell to an old friend. So let's see if we got any news bleep from off. And here we go. Good news. Jason Benetti reportedly has signed a multi-year extension with ESPN. If you want to know who Jason Benetti is, he is the Chicago White Sox play-by-play voice. Jason Benetti will remain one of the busiest men in sports broadcasting for the foreseeable future. In addition to his duties as White Sox play-by-play voice on NBC Sports Chicago, Benetti calls the Major League Baseball, college basketball, and college football games for ESPN. And thanks to a big old new contract extension, he will continue to do all of that going forward. In the Chicago Tribune, Phil Rosenthal had the following. ESPN has signed Benetti to a multi-year contract extension, so the TV voice of the Chicago White Sox will continue to call college football and basketball, along with Major League Baseball on the site for the sports media giant. Benetti said of his busy announcing schedule, I enjoy doing it. I miss doing it when I don't have games, and I think the enthusiasm is easy to push through the screen. Now, Benetti is truly a versatile voice, doing everything from anchoring ESPN's StatCast stream for the MLB wildcard round from his home to, say, calling the Maui Invitational with Bill Walton. That versatility hasn't gone unnoticed either. Benetti is always a welcome presence, and that he can excel in such variety of roles is a testament to how good he is. Being able to handle a long baseball season requires a very different rhythm than, say, calling Big Ten buzzer beaters in February, but Benetti manages to do so, and typically does it very well. It's a deserved deal, and his decision to work as often as he does is a win for viewers both locally and nationally, and we say to him, blessings. And hopefully Bill Walton will learn his name. Truly an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and in our bad decision department, and oh boy, it is a bad decision. We'll do the NBC Peacock little thing in a moment. But as you know, Jamie Samuelson did a morning show and was a part of Detroit's WXYT 97.1 FM, The Ticket. Longtime Detroit sports radio personality died in August from colon cancer. Well, today, Detroit sports talk radio station 97.1 The Ticket announced that its studio is now named in honor of Jamie Samuelson. The Ticket for the past, he worked at The Ticket for the past 8 years, more recently 4 of them as co-host of the station's morning show with Mike Stone. Stone announced the dedication on the air during a weekly segment with Detroit News columnist Bob Oljanowski, who hosted an evening show with Samuelson before he moved to mornings. Stone said, quote, "Thanks to our bosses, Debbie Kenyon, Jimmy Powers, Intercom, and the people around here, I am pleased to say that from now on, this show and every show in this place will be broadcasting from the Jamie Samuelson studios." It's a fabulous way to honor a fabulous person and broadcaster, added Wojnarowski. We've talked in the 2 months since Jamie passed about legacies, and sometimes legacy, it becomes cliche in the sports world, but Jamie's truly now is cemented along with the colonoscopy awareness that continues to go on. Samuelson's wife, Detroit PBS reporter and anchor Christy McDonald, then joined the show to react to the dedication. Chrissy went on to explain that the bright side of being quarantined during the COVID-19 pandemic is that she and their 3 children got to hear Samuelson work from home. Samuelson worked on Detroit radio and television for 25 years, first joining the city's all-sports station, WDFN, as an update anchor in 94. He eventually hosted the station's midday show and then moved to mornings, broadcasting first with Greg Henson, followed by Grady. Samuelson has been at 97.1 The Ticket since 2012. Our hearts and our souls go with the family of Jamie Samuelson, his lovely wife, Christy McDonald, and his children. And this dedication of the studio at 97.1 The Ticket is one way to remember such a rare talent. Speaking of which, been wondering why you've seen less Premier League games on the free NBC networks and more of them on their streaming service, Peacock. But for those of you who have the streaming service, you got to pay more about it. Here it is. Match week 3 of the 2020-2021 Premier League season wrapped up with quite an appealing match on Monday. The defending champs Liverpool hosting Arsenal, but this match wasn't on any of the NBC sports family, NBC, NBCSN, CNBC, or even USA. It was on Peacock, NBC's new streaming service. In fact, Peacock has hosted most of NBC's Premier League content in this young season, with 28 matches in the book through match week 3. A pair of matches in the first week of the season were postponed due to Manchester City and Manchester United competing in the UEFA Champions League and Europa League, respectively, in August. Just 11 matches have been on NBCSN, while 2 have been on NBC, and a whopping 15 have been on the Peacock streaming service. The selection of televised matches has been bizarre. Liverpool's season-opening game match with Leeds United was on NBC, but their more marquee matches with Chelsea and Arsenal were on Peacock. The 2 Manchester clubs have had 1 match each on NBCSN and 1 on Peacock. Chelsea still hasn't appeared on NBCSN, with 1 match on NBC and 2 on Peacock. Arsenal have been on NBCSN twice, but their biggest match of the season, Monday's clash with Liverpool, was on Peacock. Tottenham and Everton Each made their NBCSN debut this past weekend after 2 straight weekends on Peacock. In fact, the only team that has been on either NBC or NBCSN neither of the first 3 weeks has been none other than Leicester City, whose 3 matches with West Brom, Burnley, and Manchester City have all been on NBCSN. And while NBC does deserve some criticism for some of their decisions, it's not deserving on all of them. When the Premier League returned in June, more broadcast windows were approved. This came after pressure inside England, with fans being unable to attend games. The 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in the UK window is normally blacked out for live match coverage in England to protect live attendance, and the windows were spread out without fans in grounds in order to allow everyone to watch every match. So instead of matches airing in a maximum of 6 windows, they can air in a maximum of 10. Initially, it wasn't expected that the league would take advantage of all these windows each week. That hasn't been the case. Through 3 weekends, no matches have started at the same time. Each window has consisted of 1 game. Needless to say, that's a problem, especially when, as a network, NBC has built NBCSN around dominating weekend mornings with Premier League. When the 10 a.m. Saturday window features Crystal Palace twice, it's not very appealing, but NBC has no choice or options to air in its place. It's not as if NBC is choosing to air Palace instead of Chelsea. It's just that Palace is the only match on that window. NBC has also been hamstrung by commitments to other sports. In match week 2, just 2 of the weekend's 10 matches weren't on Peacock. But that wasn't because of some sort of aversion to the Premier League. It was because NBC had both the U.S. Open and Tour de France that weekend. Those events didn't just hurt the Premier League, as NBC's Notre Dame coverage 2 Saturdays ago was bumped over to USA because of the U.S. Open on NBC. That doesn't mean the network itself is without blame. Of the 6 Monday Premier League matches thus far this season, only one, Sheffield United and the Wolves, back in match week 1, hasn't been regulated to Peacock. Instead of broadcasting Liverpool Arsenal this Monday, NBCSN aired an hour of Meckham programming and a 3-hour block of poker. I get that NBC wants to nudge people towards Peacock, but when the network isn't even airing live programming in place of the Premier League, all they're doing is unnecessarily upsetting fans and attracting their ire. If there's possible light at the end of the tunnel, it's that match week 4 sees something resembling normalcy, thanks in part to the lack of Monday matches because of the upcoming international break. 5 matches are on Peacock this week, but of those 5, only 2 involve the Big 6 teams, Chelsea and Palace on Saturday and Arsenal Sheffield United on Sunday. NBCSN has a triple header on Sunday, and on Saturday, 1 game will air on NBCSN and 1 on NBC. The 5 Peacock matches include all 3 7 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. kickoffs. The aforementioned Arsenal Sheffield United match, NBCSN is choosing to air Wolves Fulham instead for whatever reason, and the 3 p.m. Saturday Newcastle Burnley match. Putting 5 matches per match week behind the Peacock paywall would put the total for the year at 190, and more than the 175 were initially promised. As long as it doesn't seem like the big matches and more popular teams are getting paywalled each and every week, the initial fur will come down. But if the Premier League keeps giving those teams and matches time slots that don't fit in NBC scheduling, it'll be curious to see if we don't see a shift from the rigid Saturday and Sunday morning time frames that NBC has attempted to control while airing the Premier League. For now, October will continue to see the expanded inventory of windows, and the Premier League will be making decisions on a month-by-month basis about whether to continue this practice. Here's a suggestion. Next broadcast rights deal, let Fox Sports do it and do it justice. That should be fun. After all, they have FS2 and FS1. Okay, well, it is time. Earlier today, a good friend of ours, as everybody knows, I am a wrestling fanatic, and me and Jay the Brain Man, along with our favorite people, my mom and Jay's mom, we all love to go to live independent wrestling in Jackson. The independent wrestling that we go to is AWWL, the All World Wrestling League, owned by the Farhat brothers, Eddie and Tom. And it has been paradise. We even got to practice our announcing, thanks to those gents. But one thing is for certain, by the way, Jay got to be a referee. I got to be a ring announcer. It was somewhat of a I sort of got a little nervous, but hey, I say this, it was fun, and I never want to forget it. I also did a little play-by-play, although it would have been more funner if I had the brain with me and had a 3-person booth, but you are dealt with how you are dealt. And nice gentleman. Tom, Eddie is one of the coolest, most nicest gentlemen in the free world, a true wrestling promoter, a promoter's friend. He and his brother love the fans so much that they're like the ultimate extension of family. Today we lost that family, lost that member. Tom Farhat lost his battle with cancer. And I show this to you because it's something that he would do. This is he was a jack of all trades, a master at everything. He was one of the unsung heroes, as I will explain. But there is a ticket, and I show this with respect and honor. And I'm going to read what I posted on my Facebook page. Hopefully I can do it without cracking up. And by cracking, I mean tearing up. I am a sensitive human after all, but here it goes. My tribute to Tom Farhat. Sort of in an open letter. Warts and all, as I say. Thank you, Tom, for all you have done for the sport of pro wrestling. While the wrestlers were the stars, you were always behind the scenes, from being a part of the ring crew, even reffing a match or two, to producer, director, editor, music director for the AWWL Big Time Wrestling TV shows. You're even the man behind the camera for promos and where the action was. You also fought a tough battle, not with a wrestler, but with one vile scuzzbucket named cancer. You fought with courage, dignity, heart, soul, and with the toughness of a world champion wrestler. You fought long and hard, not letting it get to you. You lived your life to its fullest. You lived your life with a smile and a determination. You may not know this, but you touched a lot of people, from wrestlers to the fans. You and Eddie and everyone from the gang at the old 5-3, the originating television station, to the ring folks and all the AWWL, and all at the AWWL, gave all of us some of the most beautiful magic, and the fun was contagious. Your journey ended too soon, way too soon, Tom. But now you are with some huge stars in heaven's Cobo Arena, and you are doing what you do best, preparing for a night of all-star wrestling, and bringing the angels and the universe that which you gave us, the magic. To you, you deserve this from all of us. To your family and friends, more than a thank you, but this, Tom Farhat, from me and Jay, the wrestlers, all of us connected to the sport of pro wrestling. You are and forever will be our Hall of Famer. Rest in paradise. And a nice picture of Tom as an inductee to the Hall of Fame. Tom Farhat was, I'm going to say it, 1 in a million. There will be no one like Tom anywhere in the sport of wrestling. He was truly a magician when it came to getting the ring up, to setting up sponsor booths, souvenir booths, selling tickets to upcoming shows or studio tapings. He always had time to talk to the fans, especially to me and Jay. He was truly one of a kind, and we're going to miss him, and miss him very much. Tom Farhat, you truly deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and you truly deserve to be recognized. And now you truly are a magic man, and we are all grateful to have met you and called you a friend. We will never forget you, Tom, not by a long shot. And whenever whenever Frank Stein and all the other wrestlers, they're planning on a little special wrestling event, and you can bet we're going to be there. Me, the Brain, and our two quote-unquote guards will be there to cheer the heroes and boo the villains. We'll raise a glass in your honor and in your memory, because you are unforgettable. Thank you for joining us. Good night, America, and blessings.